War with Troy, aka Year 9, Period 4, Friday. They're meant to be reading in silence. Just come in, take out a book, and do 10 minutes of silent reading. Part of the school literacy drive. Bridge the vocabulary gap, instill a love of books, all that crap. Somebody has taken Zach's pen lid. Not the actual pen, just the shitty little plastic cap. And Zach is finding this bare jarring, triggered by the fact that despite mad threats, Ruby, Max, Miriam and Brandon remain chill. Why Zach even has a pen out is not clear. This is, after all, silent reading. But shout at him while barking at Maroof to stop spinning on his chair, screaming at Amira to finish her little circumnavigation of the classroom is adding very little to the situation. And now, of course, the fucking cable won't go in the computer. The whole plan to get them listening to the third episode of War with Troy is in jeopardy. They can see the panic rising with every jab of the connector against the port. Zach's out of his chair, demanding everyone empties their pockets. Amira has opened up the cupboard, is attempting to steal stationery. Maroof brings his knees to his chest, hugs them tight, launches in his spinning chair into a G-force your average cosmonaut would struggle to withstand. And why won't this port go in the computer? It may be necessary to read this text himself, bungling his way through names even more anxiety generating than the ones on his register. Red-haired Menelaus, owl-eyed Athene, warlike Peleus. It's as if Homer was sent to Earth to torture stout-quaffing Kelly last thing on a Friday as the holder of a postgraduate certificate in education. He's always tried to remain at least one page ahead of his students. Alas, the sheer volume of characters and the complete impossibility of remembering who is related to who has made the whole noble intention more difficult to realise. So who is Achilles' mum? And his dad? Hang on, so if that G is his dad, and he's like a cousin of Zeus, does that mean the woman he's sleeping with is actually his cousin? And that is sus! It's been a difficult start to term. And now, technology, as if working for Goddess Strife, Eris herself, is conspiring to make things worse. Zach has recovered his pen lid, and is now telling Mason, who must have been stitched up by Ruby because she's grinning ear to ear, to watch what happens at lunch. Amira, possibly owing to the noise outside, has fully entered the stationery cupboard and closed the door. Maroof, still struggling from dizziness, is lying under his table and for some unrelated reason started pulling bits of old chewing gum off the bottom to throw at Abraham. For a very long time now, stout-quaffing Kelly has known he's in the wrong line of work. Then, as if one of the gods from Mount Olympus has taken a shine to the struggling pedagogue, the connector slots into the port and the projector comes alive. He bangs in the speakers, talks Zach down off the edge with a promise of biscuits, coaxes Amira out of the cupboard with a square of emergency fruit nut he always keeps in his top pocket, tells Maroof that if he picks one other piece of chewing gum off the bottom of the table, that he's going to make him eat it. And he has enough hungover, wild-eyed Irish madness about him to make it believable. Class starts to settle down, and the actors reading the story are so lovely to listen to, so sculpted, so balanced, that it kind of lulls the entire class into an easy enchantment. Stout-quaffing Kelly is beguiled of his fears. Zach puts his head down on the table as if voyaging across the Aegean. Amira gazes into the distance as if she, not Helen, is gliding through the ski-and gates with Paris. Mountains and sea, kings and queens, the rise and fall of great nations. Stout-quaffing Kelly looks out the window at the towers where his students live and admires their bare concrete form. Stripped of their cladding, they're naked and grey against the blue sky. Just another London day, January. No need to panic, no need for alarm. The moment he thinks this, it begins. A window about halfway up the tower, close enough that he can quite clearly see the man standing in his jumper and his shirt, his tie and trousers and shoes, but far enough that he feels no moral obligation to look away. The man puts both his palms flat on the glass and bends his knees at an angle that somehow seems obscene. Guinness curdles in Stout-quaffing Kelly's guts. Alcohol seeps out his pores. It's a few moments before he realizes the man is looking straight at him. Another clean minute before he realizes the fella is taking off his jumper. Sexy, like. Slinking out of the thing with a suggestive arch of the hips, trailing his tie down his chest, over his groin and back, between his legs. Even if Stout-quaffing Kelly had looked away before the slow, teasing work of the shirt buttons had begun, it's highly unlikely the event would have gone unnoticed. Maroof does, after all, spend 90% of his day staring out that window. But Stout-quaffing Kelly's open-mouthed gape ensures the man's sky-high striptease is an instant hit. It's on Snapchat before anyone can react. Kids stream in from other classes, teachers, abandoned by their students, drift in, red-faced, cursing Stout-quaffing Kelly's inability for even one Friday afternoon to keep his year 9s in check. What's he doing? I think he's stripping. Doesn't he know the children can see? I'm pretty sure he knows we're watching. With the final button of his shirt free, the man throws his shoulders back to allow the fabric to fall, revealing a belly not shy of Kronenberg and a kebab. He swivels, pulses bum cheeks as his hands, hidden from view, begin working on his bell. The screams of the kids, banging on the glass, the battery of pen lids, rulers, glue sticks. It's moved beyond a point of climax, and as if Maroof and Zach and Amira are only throwing themselves into it with such gusto because it's the only source of normality left to them. There's a fully grown man over there stripping in the window of their tower block. They have, of course, seen worse on TikTok. They've been watching girls on Snapchat do stuff that got them sent back to Kosovo. But this glass screen, this window here, has no big pause button. This big hairy white guy up on floor 17 isn't going to disappear when they click X. And a few of the bottom feeders start with the lip wobbling, a pair of swats abandon the window to seek refuge in their homework. Maroof and Zach become caricatures of naughtiness, and Amira, seeing the belt pulled loose of the hoops, makes a run for the cupboard. The big hairy arse is just about to make its appearance when the SLT arrive. Glaring at Stout-quaffing Kelly, as usual, giving clear, simple, calm instructions that the kids cling to like lifeboats. A weakness for authority that Stout-quaffing Kelly always found disappointing in a student. Nothing to see here, back to your classroom, show's over. But the show is far from over. For the arse is out and the shimmy shammy of the hips suggests we're about to get full frontal. Even Maroof and Zach are hiding under their desks. SLT drift towards the glass like a curious cursor hovering over porn. Is that Mr. Donnelly? The words are out before they can be censored. The pineapple-shaped birthmark on his upper thigh is hard to disguise. His weakness for short shorts, even when cycling in the winter, made it a legend. Didn't he get fired for threatening to get naked if his class didn't stop talking? Suspended pending investigation. Donnelly is now squatting, scrotum swinging free as wrecking balls. Well, as you say yourself, sir, threats without follow-through are pointless with these kids. SLT did not take this well. Get the blinds shut, Mr. Kelly. Stout-quaffer does as he's told, and the SLT stands in the doorway waiting for him to restore order and teach. Okay, year 9, war with Troy, please. Exactly, nobody is listening. Year 9, open your books. 0 response. Year 9! Shouting is frowned upon, but Quaffer prefers it to heart attacks. SLT getting ready to show him how it's done, how to assert authority. Not today. Not to fucking day. Stout-quaffer Kelly undoes his top button. Books shoot open. Loosens the tie. Like a host of angels descending from Mount Olympus high, they begin their reading in silence.